今日はジャパニーズスタイルでやってまいりました。でもこういう着物を着てこういうマイクをつけるっていうのはちょっと違和感があって似合うのかなというふうに心配してます。
I wonder if it fits with my kimono. And this is one of my artwork, and this is one of my collection that I make. And I am an Urushi artist from Makea, which is a very traditional way of technology. And this technology of Makea has been completed more than 1,000 years ago, and it's been developed in Japan. It's very unique, and every phase of the historical period, it came out with a very new design, and it's been passed on to the current one. And it's a very special, unique technology in Japan, technique in Japan. So I'd like to introduce the technique of Makea. This is to draw a pattern with urushi, and before the urushi lacquer gets dried, they sprinkle the gold and silver powder with the fingers to the counter patterns, and it's a very unique technique. And maybe it's difficult to see on the screen, so I have brought the actual tools to spray the gold and silver. You hold this tool, and by just dropping only the portion that you need and create some different tone. And can you hear the sound? So this is the sound that it makes. And 1,000 years ago, it made the exact same tone of. So using this Makea technique, this is my work as Urushi artist. And today I'd like to talk about Urushi, which is a natural material that we use for the Makea technique. And before that, I'd like you all to think about the Japanese kanji character. So this is a Japanese kanji character. Japanese kanji character, especially when they describe a wood, it has the radical, or the left side of the kanji is all the tree. It symbolizes whether it's pine, sakura, or different type of kanji. It all has the wood on the left-hand side. However, this tree of urushi, although it's a tree, it does not have the tree on the left-hand side as a radical. And out of so many kanji characters, this is the only wood kanji that has no wood. But instead it has sanzu, which symbolizes water. And now look at the right-hand side of the kanji of urushi. I create some little cartoon and symbols. I cut the tree with a knife and the water comes out. Many people say that the kanji of urushi is very complicated. But from the time that the kanji for urushi was developed, people knew that this tree was not used for the wood, but it's rather the sap of the tree is valuable. And that's the history of urushi. So no one's going to say, I cannot write the kanji of urushi. You all learned the makeup of the kanji of urushi. Water, a tree cut, and the water comes out. You got it? Great. So please review when you go back home the kanji of urushi. So the sap of urushi, how useful that is, and that's very important to know. And when you cut the tree of the urushi, this is like urushi sap performs what blood does to humans. When we cut and it has blood is oozing out and trying to protect itself and solidify it. And same thing for urushi. When the urushi tree is cut, it'll be exposed to the air and the temperature in the air and reacts and solidifies and to try to protect itself. And we use this sap before it solidifies, and we scrape every single spoon, and we scrape every single scoop and use it for our work. This urushi, once it solidifies, it has a very extraordinary adhesive agent. It can even connect the metals, and once it solidifies, it functions as a firm gloss coating paint. And of course, it's water and heat resistance. But once it's been glossed, coated with urushi, even you have an acid or alkyd, you can be protected. People think, oh, urushi is so sensitive, but it's beautiful, yet it's so firm. This is a very, very rare natural materials, and all the more so for the artificial coating paint. So the coating paint of urushi and our long ancestry has been using for more than 10,000 years. Unfortunately, in the past 50 years or so, because of the petroleum products, so-called plastic dishwares have entered into everyday life, and the urushi has been distanced from our life. Urushi is expensive. That's the image of people. And plastic is more inexpensive. True, it's more reasonable. But urushi, like I said, it's beautiful and the touch is very nice and has a smooth touch. And yet it's so firm. And I would like all you to think and review this, appreciate this. Now, beginning of this year, I had an opportunity to meet an adventurous Mr. Yuichiro Mura. He's at the age of 80 years old, and he's on the third challenge to attack the Mount Everest right as we speak now. And when I chat with Mr. Mura, he said, above 6,000 meters above and in extreme weather, the plastic or the aluminum metallic wares would not keep the food warm. It's not useful up in high altitude. So I said to him, well, how about using a wooden bowl coated with urushi? It will keep your food warm. It will be very useful. And he said, yes, I would love to bring that to the mountain. And so I decided to make it, and he is actually bringing to Mount Everest. And I said to him, I'm going to make a presentation. So he sent me, just 3 days ago, he sent me a picture from base camp of Mount Everest, and he's actually using the urushi ware. And from next week, he is going to start the big challenging of the hike. And I hope he will come back successfully. And I wanted to hear the user report of urushi for the feedback. So please stay tuned for his feedback. Now, urushi is very popular in Europe and America. And this is going back to the old century. In the 17th century, you probably know that in the late 16th century, the Christianity was introduced to Japan. And at that time, the weapons or the wines or the sponge cake from Portugal was imported, and you know that. But at the same time, so many urushi lacquerwares were being ordered and being exported to the overseas. So on a massive scale, not many people know that. If you go to a church in Europe, you can still find these kind of wooden urushi ware in the church. Actually, in the Edo period, Japan took the closed policy. But still, during the time, urushi was developed and being exported to Europe. In 18th and 19th century, urushi was called Japan in those countries. Unfortunately, as you all know, the word urushi is translated to lacquer in English. I'm very disappointed the word lacquer for translation, because this wonderful materials, its functionality, and just a simple word of lacquer, it does not convey all the meaning of the urushi has. This is same thing for the koge, which is translated to craft. Japanese koge culture is not just the narrow scope of craft which we use on a daily basis. It covers a wide scope, which is only things that we only use once a year or once in a lifetime. That's also in the scope of craft. And although we have something, maybe that's been appreciated just as an artwork, and that is all called in a category of koge, the craft. That's how wide the word koge covers. So Japanese artists like for the sliding doors and folding screen. And we draw picture to those everyday things. So in our day-to-day life, Japanese people drew art on the things that we use, and the art has been introduced to our everyday life. That's Japanese culture. And so we have to revisit this koge, and the word koge should not be just translated to simple mere word of craft, which is just used on a daily commodity things. I have a question mark for the word craft for translating for koge. So the thing is, I'd like you to say is that I want you to know that urushi is not lacquer. Urushi should be translated to urushi in English, and koge should be translated not to craft, but keep the Japanese word of koge, and I hope the overseas people would accept the word as urushi and koge as it is. Now, urushi is that we really value what's in the nature. We leverage without damaging the natural environment and recycle it, and we can just use it over and over, and there's a circulation in the world, and it's not the circulation of 50 or 100 years, it's the circulation of 400 or more than that, sometimes 1,000 years scope of circulation. I have here with me a small ware. This one that I'm holding in my hand, this was created 400 years ago. 400 years ago. But it looked so glossed and beautiful, like it was painted yesterday. That's how durable the urushi is. Maybe once in your lifetime, you have to achieve some result in your life. That's not the span we think. Our values. If you cannot achieve the goal within our life, that achievement or the value can be passed on to the next generation. That's what we learned from the urushi. And as a matter of fact, my father had a very strong passion and value for urushi. And therefore, that really resonated me. And therefore, I was following that. And my sons as well, my next generation, have really echoed my passion for urushi, and my sons are working as a urushi artist as well, the same course. Create slowly, use slowly, and passing on to next generation slowly. That's the value and culture of urushi. Please appreciate this wonderful natural material from the nature. Now, my last word. This is a dinner scene from my family. I took a picture of my family dinner. And a rice and a miso soup and a broiled salmon piece. Very simple meal. But even with a simple meal, if you serve in a urushi coated bowl, it would enrich your mealtime, your life. As a matter of fact, the right rice tastes best in the urushi because it keeps warm. It's better than serving in a ceramic. It keeps even the last piece of rice. So please try eating rice in your urushi bowl. Urushi is, the more you use it, the more glow of the urushi gets better and better. The creator and the user can both keep it and let them grow. So please revisit and love urushi one more time, and please use it. Thank you.